As men grow older, something interesting begins to happen. After the age of 65, many men begin to see life very differently than they once did. The things that once felt urgent slowly lose their importance. The constant race, the pressure to succeed, the need to prove something to the world, all of it begins to fade. When men are young, life often feels like a competition. They work harder, chase promotions, build careers, support families, and try to meet the expectations placed upon them. But age brings something that youth rarely sees clearly. It brings perspective. A 72-year-old retired man named Michael once explained it in a simple way. He said, "When you reach this stage of life, you begin to realize that life was never really about winning. It was about understanding." That realization doesn't come overnight. It slowly forms after decades of experience, mistakes, successes, and quiet reflection. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to Health Vibe for honest, respectful wisdom about aging and life after 60. Today we're exploring 7 truths that many men only truly understand after the age of 65. These are lessons that time quietly teaches, often after a lifetime of chasing the wrong priorities. The first truth many men discover after 65 is that peace becomes more valuable than success. In younger years, success often feels like the ultimate goal. Promotions, money, recognition, and achievements seem incredibly important. Many men spend decades pushing themselves harder and harder to reach those milestones. But as the years pass, something begins to change. A retired engineer named David once said that when he stopped working, people kept asking him if he missed the excitement of his career. After thinking for a moment, he smiled and said, "I miss some of the people, but I don't miss the pressure." For many men, waking up without stress, enjoying a quiet morning, and having control over their own time feels far more valuable than chasing another achievement. The second truth is that time quietly becomes the most valuable thing in life. When we are young, we believe time is unlimited. There will always be another opportunity, another year, another chance to do what we want. But aging changes that belief. Suddenly, men begin to notice how quickly the years move. A 75-year-old grandfather named Thomas once looked at an old photograph of himself holding his newborn son. He stared at it for a long moment and then said softly, "It feels like this picture was taken just yesterday." After 65, many men realize that time is no longer something to waste. It becomes something to appreciate and protect. The third truth many men discover is that relationships matter far more than possessions. Throughout much of their lives, men often work incredibly hard to provide security and comfort for their families. Houses, cars, savings, and financial stability become major goals. But later in life, many realize that possessions rarely create lasting happiness. What truly matters are the people who remain close. A retired teacher named James once said that the most valuable moments of his life were never the things he bought. They were the evenings spent laughing with friends, the dinners shared with family, and the simple conversations that filled ordinary days with meaning. After 65, many men understand that connection is far more valuable than accumulation. The fourth truth is that most arguments were never worth the energy. When people are younger, pride can feel very important. Winning debates, proving a point, and being right can seem like serious matters. But as men age, many begin to look back and realize that countless conflicts were unnecessary. A calm 70-year-old man named Richard once laughed while remembering a heated argument he had with a coworker decades earlier. "I don't even remember what we were arguing about," he admitted, "but I remember how much stress it caused." With age, many men discover that protecting their peace matters more than proving they are right. The fifth truth that becomes clear after 65 is that health quietly becomes life's greatest wealth. When people are young, they often take their bodies for granted. Energy seems endless, strength feels natural, and illness feels distant. But time slowly changes the body. Small aches appear, energy levels shift, doctor visits become more common. A 73-year-old man named Daniel once said something simple but powerful. "At this age, if you wake up feeling healthy, That alone is a blessing. Many older men begin walking regularly, eating more carefully, and paying attention to their well-being. They realize that without health, everything else becomes less meaningful. The sixth truth is that happiness is often far simpler than we once believed. In younger years, happiness can seem connected to big achievements, buying a home, reaching financial goals, gaining recognition. But with age, happiness begins to reveal itself in quiet and simple ways. A retired mechanic named George spends most evenings sitting on his porch watching the sunset. When someone asked him if he ever gets bored, he simply smiled and said, "No, I finally have time to notice things." For many men after 65, happiness appears in small moments: a peaceful walk, a warm cup of coffee, a calm afternoon, or a conversation with someone they care about. And finally, the seventh truth many men realize after 65 is that life moves far faster than anyone expects. When people are young, life feels slow and open. The future feels distant and full of time, but as decades pass, years begin to feel shorter. A thoughtful 74-year-old father named Anthony once said something that stayed with his family. He said, "You blink, and suddenly, your children are grown, your career is finished, and you're wondering where all those years went." It isn't a sad thought, but it is a powerful reminder. It teaches us that life should never be rushed through without appreciation. These 7 truths are rarely taught in classrooms. They are lessons taught quietly, by time, experience, and reflection. And perhaps the greatest wisdom many men discover later in life is this: a meaningful life is not measured by how much you achieved, but by how peacefully you lived, how deeply you loved, and how fully you appreciated the time you were given. Aging does not only bring gray hair and slower steps. It brings clarity. It brings understanding. It allows many men to finally see what truly mattered all along. If you or someone you love is approaching this stage of life, remember that growing older is not only about losing youth, it is about gaining the wisdom that only time can provide. Thank you for spending this thoughtful time with Health Vibe, where we share calm and honest insights that honor dignity, independence, and truth in life after 60. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to Health Vibe so we can continue exploring the wisdom that comes with age.